So what I'll do is just open it up to, thank you guys for coming. This is my first time in this room. It's really nice. It's a very nice room. So how's everybody doing today?
I'm a little dry.
So why don't you tell me what's on your mind? What are you thinking about? Jess gave me an idea for a topic, but I like this. Let's just have a conversation, if that's okay.
What do you do?
I'm Dr. Kherat, Superintendent of Peoria Public Schools. Yes, I'm the superintendent.
Okay.
We were talking, I'm going on my 8th year. I mean, yeah, as superintendent. I came in 2015.
I get told you're in here, but I get to lose too.
Yeah, no worries.
Thank you.
So we're here to talk about Peoria Public Schools, kids, the community. We're all in this together. Our theme for Peoria Public Schools is schools can't do it alone, but a community can. So I'm just really very excited and inspired by, the group, you coming out to have a conversation about the schools. And I'm open to hearing your thoughts, your ideas, opportunities for improvement, whatever. I can just start talking about, hey, Mr. McGowan, what did you want me to talk about?
Well, mainly the things I get most of is discipline issues. And that's the number one complaint that I get is it's always the other people's kids. So it's not being disciplined. And my point is, I would like for the school district to stop being on the defensive and go into office. Because Glen School is our school. We saved that school.
Right.
And to see it being torn down, and it's not being torn down by the administrator, it's not being torn down, it's being torn down by the community. We are destroying the school, and that to me is not acceptable. Instead of trying to find ways to make it better, all we do is criticize. And they're a problem, of course they are. But I've said many times, the problem with Glen School is not the administration, it's not the teachers, it's not the kids, it's the parents. You cannot discipline a kid nowadays in Glen School. Because that kid would tell that teacher, I have my mama come in and kick your ass. And we'll do it. Almost every day when I was spending time in that school, I would break up a fight between parents when it comes up with a teacher. That can't be said, we can't do that. And you need to put more emphasis. I made comments, I forgot to bring on what I did with it. You all, the hands are tied by SB 100. But the community don't know that. That is something that you need to put out there. I would challenge everyone, because when we were on the Parent Teacher Advisory Committee, that was our job, trying to find a disciplinary policy around SB 100.
What is SB 100?
That's a bill that the legislature passed concerning discipline in school, what the kids, what the administration can't do, what the teacher can't do, what the superintendent can't do. There are so many things that what you can't do, the other one you can't do, you can do. You can't expel a kid just like that no more. You can't suspend a kid just like that. They wonder why a kid gets expelled and come back in, he's get right back there again the next day. They have no choice. SB 100 requires they have to do something with it. So the parent is the one that has to control that child. And they're not doing it, so we need to put more heat on the parents than to put the parent language alone. So those are the things that I'm trying to figure out, is how do we get past SB 100. I would pass those out to every meeting I went to. I would pass out copies of SB 100 and tell the people in that meeting, come up with solutions. You figure out something. I would challenge the public with SB 100. I'll make the public and ask people to come up with solutions. No, involve the community. Come up with solutions based on this. And give us some ideas.
So I'll tell him, thanks. And that's what he wanted me to talk about, SB 100. And so thanks for asking what it is, what does it mean? So it's, I wrote it down. Really all it does is it requires school to not kick kids out, right? Not to expel them, not to suspend them, but to find alternative ways. Unless, and you can expel and you can suspend if there's a threat to the school or threat to others. So if it's very, very serious. And there's some restrictions as well. I have the Senate bill, it's called the Senate Bill 100 Suspension and Expulsion Summary. And so what we have to do, because what has happened is it started out in Chicago. And when the politicians looked at the kids who were being expelled and the kids who were being suspended, they were primarily African-American children, right? So they're like, you know, this is not good. This is just building a pipeline from school to prison. So the intent is good. And so what we've done, I said I started in 2015. Since I've been here, and so what they're asking is alternatives for kids, right? Instead of expelling them and suspending them, come up with alternative interventions.
Thank you.
So like for PPS, for Peoria Public Schools, we have Knoxville. We have kids can go to school on weekends. Kids can go to school in the evenings. We have online school. We have game changers. We have 15 alternative things that our kids, right? And I gave this to you. We have, you know, life is tough and people are struggling. We have, you talk about Glen Oak, right? And I don't see you at the safety net meetings anymore. But I have this map from PPD. And this area, it's a red zone for violence, right? So that affects the kids, right? That impacts families. And it does impact what happens when they come to school. Okay, just a minute. And so there is just so much stuff that we have to deal with. So what we do is, so did you see the alternative programming that we brought? Guess what?
You have another one of those? I need one.
Yep, you can actually have this one. So we have 152 middle school and high school kids who are involved with the criminal justice system. What did we do? We wrote grants and we hired justice advocates. So we have like 6 positions, 6 people. Their job is to get them back in school, go to court with them, take a look at the best fitted program for them, whether it's online, whether it's Knoxville, whether it's Game Changer, whether it's a weekend school, whether it's an evening school, find a good fit for them so that they can have success. And they meet with them one-on-one and they put a plan together for them so that, because if not, then you know what's going to happen to our kids, right? So 152 kids are in the system. When I first started and I opened up the wraparound center at Treewind, you know what, parents, we have never seen anything like that. That quite a bit of parents want to figure out how can they get a divorce from their children. Yes. Right? That's the things we have to deal with. So I'm going to get you, but you had your hand up. But I wanted to at least share. So we have to continue to find strategies to reach our kids, one starfish at a time. We can't throw them away. And so when we suspend them, we don't just suspend them like when I was a principal at Manual, you would suspend them and then they go hang out on the streets. Who knows what they're doing at home? They have a specific program that we have to put them in. So this young lady had her hand up, then you.
Thank you. This is my first meeting. I know, or I've seen, or I've been in contact with some of you. So nice to meet you again. But Dr. Kherat, the first time I met you, you was with another teacher, and you walked upon my porch.
Right.
While me and my grandkids were outside.
Yes, ma'am.
My solution, and it's going to continue to be, is what happened with the truancy? What happened with people that sat on their porches and they made sure that the neighborhood was okay? What happened to people becoming neighborly and communicating with their neighbors and getting to know their neighbors regardless if they've been there 6 months or 60 years? What happened is our community broke itself. Our younger generation that's having children now feel that the school should raise the child. Regardless of they're working or doing what they should be to take care of their families, they feel that the school district should raise the child. Because their mentality is not set like us older generation that grew up having to take that note to home on the first day of school
Right.
for your mom and daddy to sign it, letting the principal know that it was at will and it was okay to paddle you if you became. Needless to say, you all hear me.
Yes.
The village broke itself.
Yes.
We can sit in this group and we can throw ideas to the walls, grow. But until they're implemented and we actually walk up on the porch, knock on the door, make the eye contact with that parent, let them know I'm grandma, I'm great auntie. This right here is my grandson, he's 4 years old. I'm raising his two sisters, 10 and 8. And let me tell you, I'm going through flux. Because at 50 years old, I should not be worried about when my grandkids go to school, are they making it safely? My car just broke down and it totally depleted itself. I reached out to the community and I found no one to help. Not a neighbor, not a business, no community center, nada. So I'm getting up extra early for my children to get on the DCP bus because they are so valiant in their community that they do go a little bit above and beyond. But my solution to everyone in this room is to remember how Big Mama was. Remember that Miss Mabel that lived on the corner, she sat on the porch all day long. She knew everybody's business and she got along with everyone. I'm Big Mama. I sit on my porch at 201 East Fry. I sat on it at 109 East Gibb. I sat on it at 508 East Arcadia. What was the other one? 804. I jumped off my porch in my robe in my pajamas when 30 kids got to fighting over here at Glen Oak on the corner. And Miss Tina, may she rest in peace and happy birthday to you early. She could not move off that corner and I understood it was going to take me to step off that porch. Without fear, I walked in the midst of them 30 children. And I looked dead there in everybody's eye. And look at my eyes. When I mean business, you can kind of tell, right? Because Big Mama taught me how to look.
So,
She taught me how to speak.
yeah.
So the community needs to come back together.
Yeah.
You're right. He's absolutely right. We need to stop blaming the system for our own mistakes. We have to come together. You cannot say you're a community and you don't know who you live next door to. I'm living next door to people right now that are making me want to move. And I love my house. But because they are doing a contract for deed in their home, I'm putting up with 5 pit bulls viciously attacking each other all the time, drugs going on in the house, guns being shown, 6 cars in front of my house on any given day with, tires off and brakes and motors being taken apart. I'm ready to move, and this is a house that I plan to this year sign contracts to buy.
I get it.
And I can't.
Yeah, every day I get a list of ID numbers of kids where the police went to their homes.
Well, I can't do that.
Today, there were about 30 kids. You know what I'm saying? By school, there's not the names, just ID numbers. It will say X school. Police went to these 8 kids' home. And I think I counted 8 ID numbers.
Oh my God.
So what you're saying, and just imagine there might be kids in those homes with you know what I'm saying? Then they come to school and so we talk about educating the whole child. But if we can get the community and the parents, because we have 27 school buildings, and there are some schools that are doing well, very well. Because the kids, they get home, they get to bed on time, they set some time aside for them to read, they're helping them with their homework.
This is my first year in Glen Oak, well,
Second year.
but not in a row. And the first time.
That's right, the first time I met you, they were at Hines.
They were at Hines.
Yep.
And remarkable. I mean, I'm sorry, I love that school. I wish that we would not have moved out the boundary so that they could continue to go there. Because they are a community in there. They are close-knit, they talk to them, and please don't say it's predominantly white, because it's not. It's actually right over the percentile where it needs to be for minorities. but the way they deal with their families. I go into that office and any day, I don't care what day it is, I could be going in there bright and cheery, and some days I walk in there and I got tears coming down my eyes. But they've always been welcoming me, anything that I've ever needed or anything, I could go to them. This school is not a bad school, but the people that we are allowing, because of our desperation, we set them, bam, there you go, there's your position, don't need to be there.
Amen, sister.
I don't like when I go into Glen Oaks
And I hate
and they are gossiping. They're talking about other things that should not be conversation in the office. I do not like going into Glen Oaks and getting rudely disrespected. Can I help you? Excuse me? Hello, how you doing this morning? Good morning. How you doing?
And don't call.
And that gives me that tightness in my chest and that, ooh, that burn in my shoulders that makes me want to come back down. But I have to fight that because I'm a grandmother and I'm involved with my grandchildren.
It's old school.
So, and I hold my tongue and I just smile and I just say, can you please? But in the back of my mind, my religion is almost lost because I can't believe that I just walked in here and was completely disregarded. I'm not gonna say disrespected, Mom. I'm gonna say disregarded. Like I've done nothing.
And I know Mr. McGowan just said that he has been trying to invite Ms. Clemens. I would recommend maybe the next speaker, and I'd be happy to come and join her. This is her first year, and I think she's a really good fit for Glen Oak. It's good to get the feedback because
she is overwhelmed.
Yep.
And she is overwhelmed. I just left the PTO as president because I could not connect with her.
You can't reach her.
I couldn't go out and say, hey, I want to set these flyers out. I want to knock on doors. I want to bring people in here. I wasn't allowed to do that. If I am deciding to take my safety, I'm not wearing a badge for the district. If I want to knock on a door as a parent, grandparent, foster parent, licensed mandated reporter, knock on that door, I want to knock on the door. And I might make a phone call when I walk away from that door.
I will help.
Because you did that for me.
I will help.
I sent you to my daughter's house and you called them for me. I thank you. I thank you for that phone call.
I appreciate
my grandchildren.
I appreciate your passion, and we'll work together. And I can help with that, and I can help with Ms. Clemens. Actually, it's so funny that we're having this conversation. Because I usually go to buildings. I was at Maud Sanders yesterday, Von Steuben yesterday, and the day before I was at Glen Oak. And we were talking, just looking at her, and we had a really heart-to-heart conversation, and what I got was the right support for her. So I get it. And I told her, don't worry, this is the time for staffing for next year. And so I promise, if you come to my office, like if you go to my office right now, you'll see the list on my desk, and there's a highlight, yellow highlight with Glen Oak on it to work together to figure out how we can provide more support, a better fit for her. I'm working on that.
Can you tell me, because I'm a little bit confused, because I took a week of my time and almost filled up a notebook trying to bring in the community back to Glen Oak, coming up with ideas to connect with people in such a manner that does not bring, a hostile environment, but a social one. And I kept getting knocked down by Ms. Clemens. And I know it's not her. So what is the time frame for which you have to decide, okay, because I wanted to do an Easter egg hunt, basically for the community.
Yeah.
Southside has one.
Yes.
Why can't we pitch in
Let's do it.
$2 worth of eggs?
Yeah, let's do it. It's Jesse, it's amazing because I had another conversation with another group, and they want to do, they've gotten grant money to revitalize PTOs, especially in schools that do not have one. So I'm going to connect you with Tamika Rutherford. She's at Tree Wind, but she's going to be the lead person for that. And I will, I know I have Ms. Hammer's number, but I want your information as well. And I'm going to talk to Tamika when I get back in the car, and I'll have I'll have the two of you start. I love the idea of the Easter egg
Yes, I
hunt.
had planned on having.
Let's do it.
I planned
Let's
on
do
having-
it. Let's,
Sure. I had planned on having Mr. Rashard there to welcome me. We spoke briefly over the phone. You know, I had everything planned out so that the PTO could have raised this money over the last 2 weeks to make it happen. So we would not have to worry about it, you know, our funds that we have put aside, which is very little. I mean, from where I come from to where I'm at is completely different. So when she said that I did not give her enough time, we have not pushed forward with any plans of this. Because she said I did not have enough time, and I knew that I did it, but if she would have just said, yes, Ms. Butcher, go ahead, I would have floated and knocked on those doors without fear, because I'm off in God. I know I'm okay. I'm gonna knock on that door, and you're gonna hear what I'm saying. That's what I wanna do. I want our village back. Because now I'm trying to leave this area, and I don't want to, because I've been here for 17 years. I'm sure some of y'all probably been here 20 and 30.
okay, thank you.
Oh, I apologize. Okay, I
Thank
wasn't
you.
quiet.
That's good. I got it though. I got enough things to work on.
Okay.
I think those are low hanging fruits that we can get some success
Yes.
and maybe get some more parents excited to get involved and,
Yes,
yeah,
ma'am.
thank
Yes,
you.
ma'am.
Thank you. You were next.
It was a question, but now it's just a statement. There is not enough fear in our children.
Amen.
They not afraid of mom. They're not afraid that anything's gonna happen. Okay, you kick me out, but I still get to go to school. That's what I see the problem is. This is my granddaughter, and while she might go to school in that crazy job, but she ain't gonna do that at home.
Amen.
She ain't gonna have that at home. I'm not gonna have it. She doesn't live with me anymore, but she did. And we were at Glen Oak, and we were there every morning for our what is the before school program. Now they didn't even
21st
offer it
century.
this year. They didn't even offer it. So now we had to figure another way. And I think a lot of the problem with working parents, like why you guys had to come up with this, find something for the child to do instead of send them home. See, because if I got sent home, believe me, mama talked to me about it, and she didn't just talk, it was a little hands-on. And that's sometimes what I think children need, somebody to spend a little more, their parents.
Put your name and number.
Yes, ma'am.
Are you at Glen Oak? You're still at Glen Oak? Do they have the 21st century program?
What is that?
She said, yeah. Yeah, I'll follow up and I'll call you. Were you in 21st century? No.
I don't think it was 21st.
Have you heard about it?
Dream Center now has
Okay,
a
thank
before
you.
school program. I don't know if anyone knows them. The Dream Center, ECT, Mr. Robbie, Mr. Jojo, there, Mr. Les. Dream Center has a before school program now. They pick them up and they drop them off at Glen Oak. They've been nice enough. Those are the ones that have been bringing my grandchildren to school for me. So I don't trust it. I just live
In a meeting.
6 blocks down from the school, but I refuse to allow them to walk. I
Yep.
can't.
Yep. I get it. Thank you.
Jesse.
And this, yep, yes.
Yeah,
Thank
he
you,
want to
Mr.
talk. He want to talk too. I want to talk too. I'm gonna say something. But he want to
Thank
talk.
you.
He was his turn. It was his turn.
There's a few things I'd like to
Say
address.
what?
Sometimes it's not always the students, sometimes it is faculty. I mean, I have been dealing with it since I got there. And I know you're all mandatory reporters, but when you take my little girl, and I asked her when DCFS got called on me, because I popped her in the face. I popped her in the mouth, that's what she said. I said, what did you say? She said, my teacher asked me if my dad hit me. I said, that's leading a child. She said, I said yes to everything, Dad. I was like, oh my God. Now, if I popped her in the mouth, I tried to explain to him, how did she get marks on both sides of her face? I said, because it's marker. She had marker all over. If you look for good, it's in her eyebrow, it's on her eyelid. I didn't want to scrub this off because I didn't want to hurt her. I also got pictures and film of everything she did in the house that day, because I was actually sending it to her mother, because I'm a single dad and I take care of my kids. They live with me. There's a lot of different things that should be addressed. I had, she led my child. My daughter brought in Gatorade one day. She made a big stink in front of the whole class about my daughter's Gatorade not being good for her. She shouldn't drink it, just water. Girl, I don't want her freaked out and scared of what I do because she has sack lunches. She can't have regular lunches. She's allergic to everything. Then I got a nurse. I had a problem with a nurse one day. So it wasn't, you know, she even addressed my daughter, "It's not your fault, sweetheart, it's your dad." I said, "Don't you talk to her like that," right in front of her. Now, it all started because you tell me to come get my child, fine, but tell me why. You just hang up and I don't know what's going on. I even call the school, they don't know, nobody will tell me. By the time you get to the school, you're a little irate.
Yes.
And you're trying to keep your composure. And then you got somebody, because when I was on the phone with the nurse, she said what she had to say. And when I went to talk, she said, sir, over the top of me, like I wasn't supposed to, you guys are in authority in your position. I'm a father, you're not my boss.
Right.
We're supposed to communicate like people. You said something, my turn to say something. Don't step over me, don't step on me, let me talk. I know I'm a minority in this community because I'm white, and I'm a single father. I know that, you know.
So what are some recommendations? What are some things you would like me to consider?
I never could figure out why they couldn't be out of school at 7 o'clock in the morning. You guys changed the days when, the times when you drop off your students without talking to parents, saying, hey, we're doing it this way, we're gonna change it back, without saying, hey, I'm sorry about your work schedule, and you had to lose your job, and you gotta move, and there's more problems. But you can't just do that without talking to everybody.
Do they have
Notices out.
Do they have an after-school program? They should have an after-school.
I'm
I mean, a
talking about
before-school,
when you change the time.
a latchkey program, a before-school program.
People are dropping their kids off at 7 in the morning. I'm watching little kids like my daughter. I won't let her walk to school, kindergarten, or first grade, walk to school by themselves, and parents are doing it.
Yeah. No.
Nobody's out there. Now, I asked somebody, they said, we'll keep the doors closed for our protection, but the children are standing outside. There's
Yes.
no protection. We don't have enough stuff to watch them. I said, what are you doing in your classrooms? You get your day ready. Well, somebody, a principal, somebody, a teacher gets sick. When I was a kid, when the teacher got sick, the principal already had that degree to go and fill in for that teacher. You can't get somebody. The principal can't go out there and stand. There's 4 principals at Glen Oak, and not one of them can go out there at 7 in the morning, or just open up the doors and stand when they come in, make them sit in the cafeteria like any other time.
Yeah, they should have a latchkey program, a before-school program, so I'll follow up on that as well.
I know that you guys are looking for solutions for bad children. Bad children, they're bad children, they're misunderstood children. I went to school my junior year in a positive peer culture program. My counselor was, oh my God, heaven, he was an ex-Vietnam drill sergeant. So, I mean, we had the hardest one, but I mean, I went to a place where everybody had somebody. If you're looking for solutions, first of all, what I learned growing up, and I ended up being one of their, I was somebody that graduated from that and led the way for a lot of other people, because not everybody succeeds, not most kids. You want to get to these kids, you have kids, deal with kids. You keep an adult there to keep them on track, but have them sit around. You have the worst of the kids, they hate each other, they like each other, whatever. You have the children deal with children, because they don't want to listen to an adult, they're just tired of hearing this. But when they're friends, you're like, hey, you're bad, or hey man, that's stupid, look, that was kind of dumb. You have set somebody that in there that they'll listen to, somebody to look up to. They will listen to them children before they listen to an adult.
So just, here's the thing though, one of the things I'm impressed about with this group, you have power. I mean, look at how many people are in this room. This could be a PTO, right? Where you guys are, okay, for whatever reason, you meet here, you put your plan together and you call me, or he comes, he can come walk straight into my office and talk to me. He doesn't need an appointment. And any one of you can, actually. Okay, so.
Make me feel special now.
So, I mean, you know what I'm saying? Does that make sense? You want to do your Easter egg hunt.
I want to say
Put your little plan, put your plan together. Say, Doc, do we have permission? I can't get Miss Clemens, right? Miss Hannah knows how to get a hold of me. Okay, she's also come to my office. I'm always driving on Wisconsin, back and forth, probably 5 times a day. She's outside doing her, her crossing guard work, and sometimes she'll flag me down. Okay, you have power, you have my permission to put your plans together, and if you're not hearing from the schools, you guys find me. She knows how to get a hold of me, and then let's take a look at what you want to do. okay?
Can't you
So
get
that's just my
crossing
idea
guards
right now.
walkie-talkies like you do the teachers?
Pardon me?
You guys can't give your crossing guards walkie-talkies like you can the teachers, they can communicate what's going on? with
We've-
the students?
That's a big one right
I mean,
Yeah,
the school's
I-
still responsible for every child till
Yeah.
they get home.
Yeah,
They
we've,
need 'em. They so need them.
Director Boone, was he coming tonight?
What's that?
Was Boone coming tonight?
No, he said he forgot about it.
Oh, okay.
He got
He's
that.
on it.
He got no campaign sign.
Yeah, so he's probably working, because, you know, he has his little project that he's working on. We've talked about the walkie-talkies. I need to find out what got in the way. But you had your hand up.
Yes, I did. Like you saying, back in the day, they had security guard that was armed. The reason I'm saying that, 'cause my mother was a security guard at Manual, Richwood, Central, and Sterling, and all those schools. My mother was Bama McBride. You knew her. Miss Little, Miss Easley, all security guards. They were always secure, carry guns and stuff. They were trained for this and everything. Nowadays, they don't do that nowadays
Amen.
at all. I'm trying to say, my mom was a security guard for like 20-some years. And all of a sudden,
Kindergarten teacher.
no,
Security guard.
Oh,
security guard.
Okay.
Just security guard.
Okay.
Security guard, I'm saying, that's what I grew up with. That's what made me go to the Marine Corps to Vietnam to do what I had to do, because I'm saying, she was doing something for the school. And she got sick lady and said, you know, she passed, I'm
What's your
saying
mother's
that.
name?
Bama McBride.
Okay.
Bama McBride or Bama Wright. She changed up, she got married
Okay.
and that different thing. My name McBride, her name was Wright.
Okay.
But yeah, but she was at District 150 for a long time till she passed. You know, she got ill and stuff, and I'm thinking like everybody, if I know, they love Bama. They love Miss Easy, they love Miss Little. Had no problems like that. So you got respect of the older people.
Right.
You know.
It's a different
I'm
generation.
saying, it's a generation now. Generation now, but I'm saying, I sit back and realize, I used to watch TV, I watch news all the time, they saying they can carry guns and stuff. I'm saying, wait a minute, when I grew up in the 60s and the 70s, they always had guns on them. My mama had a gun on her. So I'm saying,
But she did that work. She was security.
she was security at Manual High School, Central, Richwood, you know, all the high schools. That's how they work. Nowadays, they don't do that no more.
Yeah. Ms. Alexander, our theme is schools can't do it alone, but a community can.
But a community.
But a community can.
But
That's,
I'm saying, but they train them to do that. Understand that? They train them, only when they feel their guns, they train them to do that.
But here's the point we got to realize now, though. We're blaming, again, we got to go back to the legislature. The legislature stopped that. The school district don't have the authority to say that the security guard will carry on. See, all these, as I said,
How you gonna stop that, Jesse? They've been doing it forever.
They passed the laws, done it. They passed the laws down in Springfield. We don't make those laws.
Let the security.
But here's the part that I wanted to get clarity. I want to talk about solutions. One of the things I would like to see us doing on a solution basis is the things that I see happening here at Glen Oak School. I mean, there's a lot of things that's going wrong, but for the thing, we need to educate ourselves on whose fault that is.
That's the parents' fault,
Just
Jesse.
because at the school.
That's the parents' fault. Ain't the school fault, the parents' fault.
But how do we solve it though?
How you gonna solve it, deal with the
Start
parents?
holding the parents
And
accountable
how
for
do you do
their
that?
kids.
How do
Thank
you do
you,
that?
thank you.
Bring the
That's the
police,
parents.
have
That's the parents.
them
That's the school,
curfew.
that's the parents.
No kid should be outside that's 10 years old past
Thank you,
8
thank you.
o'clock.
Yeah.
Let's get a
That's the
curfew,
parents' fault.
follow it out.
Yeah.
That's
You
the
can hold
parents'
parents
fault.
accountable for their
That's
kids.
the parents' fault.
That's why you got all this going on in this
That's the parents'
community.
fault.
Nobody
Yeah, but they
disagrees.
used to-
Nobody's holding their
yeah, they
kids
used to have the
accountable.
tickets.
The
Remember when
Yeah.
they would ticket, the curfew ticket thing?
Yeah, I remember that.
But they got rid of it.
Yeah.
And I think, and you're right, it was legislated that.
Yeah, and this is the point that I'm making now. It's easy to say what needs to be done, but
Right.
how to get it done, this is how we have it. You cannot hold a kid, a parent responsible if the law says, wait, you know, this is what I'm saying. If the law says you can't do it, you can't do it. There's a parental responsibility law that I got right here, we've been trying to get pushed. Every time there's a law. You know what, there's a law that says that when you're going to call a kid into the talk to that kid can say, I don't want my parent here, the parent can't be there. They can't be legislator. That makes no sense whatsoever.
And we have a lot of kids also that are being raised by grandparents and, you know, and they're in the foster system, so, you know, it's not like, it's not easy, you know, it's so complex and so many moving parts and so difficult. So what we do is, you know, when the kids come to us, we try to our best to work with them. They have tutors, you know, we figure out what they need, if they need extra help for reading, if they need extra help for math, we give them breakfast, we give them lunch, different activities, take them on field trips, and it would be a lot easier if parents were in a good place. A lot of our parents are still suffering. You know, I mean, we have what, almost 70% of PPS, you know, socioeconomic are families who are struggling. And so we are, you know, we're trying the very best that we can, but we can use help. So that's why I'm really impressed with this group. You know, you channel all of these things that you're observing, you're feeling.
So the parents.
And let's find some solutions.
The solution is the parents. Simple as that.
I have finished
The
that.
parents. I understand what you're saying, baby.
But I know,
But I'm saying
but
the parents.
some of them don't have parents. Seriously, some kids don't. They
Don't have no parents?
No, they have no parents.
Excuse me, there are 3 people.
Yeah, I have a feeling.
Okay, I'm done,
I have a solution, I'll fix it.
No, seriously, I know, but I get it. That's a part of it.
Yeah, the parents. The parents.
Here's the solution I'll fix
There you go. He want to talk.
What I want to ask, what I want
He
to
wanna
tell
talk.
parents in Glen Oak School,
Done.
when you go up to confront a teacher,
I'm done.
don't confront that teacher in front of your kids.
Yeah.
That's one of the worst things, because now that teacher is on the defensive in front of that kid, see that kid's on the defensive,
Right.
and now that kid's gonna take advantage of that.
Right.
If you got to talk to your kid, you need to talk to the kid or wait for the teacher, wait for the kid, listen to the kid, and go talk to that teacher, and listen to the teacher.
Yeah, and Mr.
And when you
McGowan, I would add, you know, like I'm bringing in these international teachers, right, from Nigeria, Cameroon, Jamaica, to help with the teacher shortage. And those countries are not as rich as the United States. But when they come, it's a cultural shock, because they're teachers, they've been teaching for 10 years, 15 years, they're not used to kids cussing them out. So another thing we can do is have a conversation about how can we like reduce the profanity that's being used at home, because then the kids pick it up, and when they come to school, that's what they do. So they're really shocked about, you know, being disrespected in that way, because in their culture, teachers are, you know, respected and they're honored. So that is a piece, and that's very complicated because Pandora is already out of the box, but it doesn't hurt to have the conversation and help, you know, help our parents realize that it's setting the kids up for failure as well.
Yeah. Amen.
So
That's what I wanted to do as PTO president. I wanted to get people with
We
their
got people's
hands
hands up, got people's hands up.
I have a question. Now, segregation was over in the 60s, correct? It took a long time for black and white people to get along. So don't we still have segregation today? We got all the Mexican children separated from everyone else. Oh, they're allowed to play with each other at recess, but they don't know each other because they're not in the same classroom. And my kids should be able to learn Spanish like anybody else, but they're not. They're learning English. And they speak better English than all their parents. The parents aren't going to the school, the children are.
right.
And
So
I don't understand
you're talking about
why
the,
they're segregating, because that doesn't help
Yeah.
anything.
they're not segregated, they're in a dual language.
Separated.
Well, because they have to be taught English, that's the program, that's how it's designed. They don't know English, so they have to be taught English, so it's called a dual language class.
They learn English like after first and second grade.
Then when they get to middle school and once they gradually get proficient, then they get sent out. But we have newcomers, actually. I was at Manual because two kids from Manual won the Bradley Home Scholarship. So they got a full ride to attend Bradley University. Wow. You may have seen it in the news. Two from Manual, two from Richwoods, and they're working on Peoria High. And I was talking to some kids, and they only Spanish. They could not even have a conversation with me. I had to remember my Spanish from high school. But they're part of the newcomers program. So we have different programs. So they're with a Spanish teacher, and they're not with everybody else because they're not able to communicate. And they just got to the U.S. So we have, it's called
learn another language.
Pardon me?
You get together and they speak, other kids, they communicate with each other. So they learn that language.
There's a formalized way that it's being done, and
But they should be separated out of those classes at least a
well,
little bit
eventually,
during the day with the other
well, I mean, eventually that's they do,
Yeah,
but
by the time they get up to junior high, they're more scared because they've always been separated from these other
no,
students.
that's how the program is designed in all districts. Yeah. So, you did.
I want to give my question to Yvonne first.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Oh, you want to give me your question? What is it?
You want to give her your time. You want to give her your
I'm
time.
just trading places.
You're giving her your time.
Okay, well, I don't have any kids at the district. All of my kids did graduate from Manual High School, so, and they all went to.
And how are they doing?
They're all doing well. So far, my daughter is in Texas. My youngest son is here. He works in Goodfield. And then my second son, he's in Seattle, Washington, and he works for Frito-Lay. And then my oldest one was killed, in 2006. But when my kids went to school, it was totally different. And like she said, everything has changed. But that's not really what I was going to ask. I have a question. I actually have two. So one is, this that you handed out. Do you have like some kind of, what do I have to see if I can find the right word? Something that measures how these programs are doing and how many kids have started with this program, and like if they finished and they went back into the regular school, how many has succeeded, where maybe they either graduated from whether it's middle school or high school? Is there some type of measurement to this?
Yes, yep. So this week, if you have kids, they're doing the IAR testing, the state testing. So everybody has to do that. Like the Game Changers program is on there. Actually, Miss Alexander used to work in that program. She can attest to what they did in that program. They monitored their progress. I was always impressed when I walked in there. You had kids working with two or three kids one-on-one. They had goals set for the day, and then once they've completed their time, because they're not there forever. They go back to their middle school. If they're not successful, then they go back. But at least there's, so that's, yes. They still have to take the NWA test. They still have to graduate and still fulfill all of the criteria and requirements that's necessary. And the other thing I'll say as well is PPS, Peoria Public Schools, has about 13,000 children and 27 buildings. So the large majority of the kids are great kids. I would say about maybe 10% of the population need some additional support, additional programs like this. But the majority of the kids are very good, bright children, very focused, making good progress, and they go on and graduate. They become teachers, attorneys, doctors, whatever they want to be, entrepreneurs, business people, counselors. And so it is, but that's what we hear a lot about, the small percentage that struggle. So that's why I'm really proud of this, because we're saving a lot of kids. When everything is said and done, somebody said, bad kids, and I'm happy you said there are really no bad kids. There's some kids who need more support than others. We have, as a community, as a society, we have to figure out, it is what it is. This is where we are, right? We have to figure out different ways of doing things differently, presenting things to them differently, so that they can be successful and graduate and be what I always say, contributing members of society. They can get a job, they can go into college, they can have a great future. Otherwise, I mean, you know, we'll be a failed society. And that's what this is all about. Is it easy? It is not easy. Can one person do it? No. Alone? Teachers need help. We have some of the best teachers around, and I know we have some that definitely could use additional support and be better, and we're working on that every day, and administrators as well. But together as a society, as a community, we can get it done. But is it easy? No, it's not easy, because there are tons of challenges every day.
I kind of feel sorry for the teachers, because once the children start taking over the classroom, my grandson, I like what it says here. There is a program for every kid. My grandson is now at the Rise Academy. He was over at Glen Oak doing crazy things and acting crazy, but once he got down there, when he first went, he really wanted to get back to his home school. He doesn't care now. And now, I hate to say it, but now he's down there doing just as bad as he was over here. I don't know how to stop him. I don't have him anymore. When he lived with me, I was the reason he went to this Rise Academy, but he's back with his mom, and now I can't. While it takes a village, he knows. I'll wash your mouth off with soap, cuss at somebody again.
You don't take the bills, you take the payments.
I'll tell you a personal story. I did that was what she said, what was it, 2 weeks ago, I think? And when I was a little kid, my mother, I woke up in a different house. My mother was gone, and I was like 7 years old. So they put me with my godmother. Somebody probably lifted me up and put me in another house across the street. So I was told my mom left to get a job, and she would send for me. So while she was gone, I had misbehaviors as well. So the detachment and all of those family dynamics, and so I understand sometimes when kids are misbehaving, and we don't say like, why are you misbehaving now? You want to find out what is that child's story, right? What happened to that kid? So the Rise Academy, I created the Rise Academy, and the kids, it's tough. They've been through a lot, right? And as adults, we don't understand why they're misbehaving, why they're fighting, why they're cussing, and so they have set up some incentives. If you do this, you'll get this. If you do this, you'll get, and it's new. We just started it this year because we didn't want to kick them out and send them home. We still wanted them to be exposed to the school environment and learning and reading and that sort of thing. But yeah, and so when the kids are separated from their families, and that detachment, it really does impact.
It wasn't that much of a detachment.
It
wasn't that much of a detachment. They could see their mother as much as their mother would come. My daughter, they would see her almost daily if she showed up. That's not where our problem is. And my daughter did it too when she got to school when she was little. Yeah, she went to Valeska Hinton, and when she got to that school, she had only been in home daycare. So when she gets to the school, she sees another kid throwing a temper tantrum. I never saw her do that. And then one day they had called me. They were calling me so much, so I had to leave work, go down there. I'm standing in the window looking at my kid kicking and screaming on the floor, and I'm like, I ain't never seen that. So I think a lot of it is what they're seeing at school that they know they can get away with. So I think a lot of times if they, I don't know, maybe separate the children, take them out of the room for a little bit, because when he was up here, he was getting out of the room for a little bit, and then he would come back in and he would slow down. He had teachers over here that were working hard. Mr. Durr was over there, he was working hard. Everyone over there worked hard with him. And so when he wasn't getting anywhere here, I thought maybe the Rise Academy would be the way. Poor Mr. Booth, oh, can you please? And when he gave me his email address and got him in, he got him in. I even went, a lot of parents need to, I hate to agree with Johnny, but a lot of parents need to help out
Yes.
Put their best foot forward for their children.
Yes.
Do the best you can for your child. Because this one is 9, and I don't care. I'm not giving up. My grandson, I'm not giving up.
That's great, I like that. And if we get the support from the kids, I always tell the parents, this is, I mean, from the parents, we say the parents, parents, you are your child's first teacher. Parents, you are your child's first teacher. When the parents are involved with their kids at school and at home, the kids tend to do very, very well. Very well.
You right about that?
And actually, she's doing a little better this year than last year. I mean, grades might not be what I would want, but I think a lot of that is, your grades ain't what I want. You heard me.
So we got 2 more questions. We're closing this.
Yeah.
We got this place for an hour.
Yes, sir.
2 more questions.
Dr. Kherat, I really appreciate you being here, and it's very important to have input from regular people, and that's, I think, what we are all here. My family, we live right across the street, so this is right in our homes, this is right in our communities. And one thing I want to say before I ask the question is that I think that the neighbors here are wonderful people, and we sit on our front porch and we communicate with people who Arcadia is like a little highway. There's just so much activity, so many people, and it's a wonderful, wonderful thing. And I love living here. But I want to ask you, what you have seen, you have a unique situation where you've been in the schools, you taught in the grade schools here, so you know 150 and you know Peoria and you know the public school system here as well or better than anyone, from what I understand of your background. What does the city of Peoria need to do to help 150, to help you have the best outcomes? What does the city do? Now, I know that there's separations of political entities, but really they can't be separate. And so, what does the city need to do to help 150?
Yeah, so we have a strong relationship with the city. We share resources together. They are very supportive of the work that we do. Now, when we have safe neighborhoods, when the crime is under control, drugs, communities are invested, right? Because usually the schools that are suffering are schools that are located in what we call disinvested communities. So when we invest in our communities and we invest in our families, then, and it's not just the city, it's everybody, right? But when you have communities that are, their jobs, there's Wi-Fi, access to Wi-Fi, because we have some communities, they don't have access to broadband, right? There's crime, high crime, and I know the city is working on that. Actually, the mayor is working on the safety network project with about 70 to 100 volunteers, and I think she's been doing that, having those meetings, and the meetings are actually held at Peoria Public Schools, and I'm part of that, along with a number of my staff members are part of that. And what they're doing is they're coming up with solutions, and they're working with the health department. We know what the health department said about violence, and so there's that Cure Violence project, which the idea is to hire folks from the community, go into the homes, and work with families. Also, we're working with the city on the Promised Neighborhood Initiative, which has started, and it's housed at Illinois Central College, where they've hired navigators, and those navigators are going into the homes, working with families, talking about academics, seeing how the kids are doing, providing guidance for them. So we just need to continue those things. I think we have to focus on...
Are you seeing really any intentionality other than a little bit above the minimum of what they have to do? Because, I mean, you look around here and you look at Glen Oak School and you go to challenged neighborhoods and you see the grade schools that aren't doing nearly as well as the ones out north, without naming them, okay? Something has to change.
Yeah.
And the status quo can't work,
I
you know
agree,
that.
I agree.
So,
I'm saying, we have a new police chief. I'm not sure if you guys have had him here. He's pretty innovative, very supportive. Police Chief Eric Echeverria, doing things differently. And coming out, talking to the neighbors. I mean, he's a really hands-on. I love that. I love the direction that the mayor is heading as well. And then you have the superintendent. All of us are working together. You know, more jobs, more opportunities. Actually, 2 years after COVID, right after COVID, I hired 50 parents, 50 of our families, to be parent advocates. They work 5.5 hours, right? And they're in the classrooms, they're in the lunchrooms, providing supports. Because and COVID, guys, we know COVID did not help.
No.
COVID made things worse. We had the learning loss. We saw the big melee at Peoria High, and you know, just increased violence throughout all of the schools and the majority of the schools throughout the United States because of social emotional. They didn't, you know, they had, we would say they forgot how to do school. So I think just the leadership, the focus, the passion, the vision about doing the very best for Peoria. So if we can, you know, we heard the theme, you know, what more can families do to help us? Because when families are able to help, things really get better. I mean, there are jobs. We have jobs. I'm looking for bus monitors. I'm looking for bus drivers. Bus drivers, $20 an hour, right? Looking for parent advocates. We're looking for cafeteria workers. We're looking for custodians. We're looking for teacher aides. We have tons of jobs. So there are opportunities as well to help families. And I was just really pleased with those 50 parents who we hired. And many of them, they came in, they stayed for a year, and then moved to a higher position like teacher's aide. And then some of them are at ICC going back to school to get their degree. So, you know, it's those successes that we're not seeing, but it's happening behind the scenes. And it's a large number of individuals.
just a quick,
No, we got one more question. She can go one more question. We'll call it back.
Do the board teach the teachers how to evacuate a school in case of a gas leak? And the only reason why I say that, and the reason why I focus so hard on crossing guards for walkie-talkie, is because today over at Franklin,
Right.
I
I'm
was
aware of
over
it.
there at Franklin. I don't know if you're aware, but
Yep.
I smell gas. And
Right.
I say to whoever the person is at that door, can you go inside and tell the principal, I smell a gas leak. We are bound to an area, and I don't feel that it's fair that we can't have something to communicate inside of the school. What everyone is failing to realize, crossing guards, me personally, I'm a hawk when I'm out there.
Yeah, I know.
I'm watching
I
kids,
appreciate
I'm
you.
watching kids from down here, comes all the way down here, all the way to where I'm at Glen Oaks.
Yeah.
If something should happen to a kid, I would feel real bad.
Yeah.
I don't feel that we should hire as crossing guards. People should take this job seriously.
Yeah.
I take my job seriously.
Yeah, I thank you.
Both places I'm at.
Yeah.
Both places.
I was looking for the text, because when those things happen, I get a text, I think it got deleted, about the gas you were smelling.
Right.
It was an outside line, and so they came and took care of it, so we really appreciated that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Somebody needs to start thinking about us. I mean, we are important.
Well, communication is a
very.
good idea for you to know something at the corner. You should be able to call in and get someone and not confront people at the front desk.
We've been on that year after year after year.
I wrote it down. I'll follow up, because you're right, we've had that conversation. I need to find out what got in the way. for the walkie-talkies.
All right,
Have a good night.
Good seeing you.
so that's, anybody have any other comments, other business? If you do, make it short, but don't do it because we're about 15 minutes over the whole pass out of time.
I just have a question. So they were talking earlier about the kids not being able to get into the school when they come to school. I guess the doors don't open till 7:30?
I need to check,
Oh,
because they should have
7:15, ma'am.
Oh, okay.
7:15.
So if they're,
7:15, they open the doors there. The same thing I feel at Franklin. I be mad at Franklin
Yeah.
over there because at 8:30, they close that door. And that guy that's standing at that door, I be wanting to walk up and tell him one day, if you was a kid and
Yeah.
you was just pulled up, your parent pulled up, and you see that car roll in there, I said, what would have hurt you to let that kid get out that car? Knowing,
Yeah.
I don't know if
Yeah.
you're aware that front door over there have not
I
been
will check
working.
into it, because they're supposed to have before care. And when I know exactly what you're
They
saying.
got before care over at Franklin. I'm talking about at 8:30. He sets his phone to go off at 8:30 to close that door.
Oh,
It can
okay.
be a car pulled in there. That kid can be getting out that car. And that's a shame before God. He closes that door, Mr. Johnson, and make that kid go all the way around.
That's all.
That's not right.
Go all the way around where?
All the way to the front, back to the front. The side door is here where
The
they
side
come in.
doors. Okay.
I stand there and ring that bell, and I've been doing it for 2 weeks. 2 weeks straight, I've been standing there. It's not my job to make sure those kids get in that school,
Right.
but I'd be damned if I'm gonna stand out there and not let them get into school.
Yeah.
And the lady get mad, and she says, you can't hold the door open. You think I'm gonna let somebody up in the school to hurt the kids? You gotta be losing
Yeah,
your
and I
mind.
don't know if Mr. Johnson, I need to check.
It's Mr. Johnson.
If he has
It's
a class,
Mr.
if he has
Johnson.
a class or something.
It's
but
Mr. Johnson.
Why he's rushing out at 8:30, so.
And then he walks down the hall. I got this school so mapped out in my sleep. It's sad though.
Maybe like.
All right, we're gonna appreciate everybody for coming out. Everybody wants everybody to do the conversation after over. I'm gonna stay a video, so everybody wants
I
everybody to
could,
do it.
because
And change
I
our
know
ideas,
that would be
but,
the real grand.
And because I know everybody's time,
Here's a grandparent.
so.
Yeah, you used to grandparent.
And that's what we'll take Dr. Rock. That's that.
Thank you, thank you, thanks for inviting, thanks for the ideas, appreciate it. I'll work on everything that I do within my.
Like I said,